So we should be Paksios or finishing up Tafkuf Test. And as we'll see in the Shia, I'm going to mention two halachas. I don't know if everyone got to it yet. But after Tafkuf Test, we learned Klar to do Tafkuf Mebez, Tafkuf Lamed Gimel. So from Tafkuf Test, we have to go to Tafkuf Lamed Gimel. The Iker is Sif Gimel and Dalet, but we made it do the whole Sinnet. I'm going to mention a few Nukudas from Tafkuf Lamed Gimel, but everyone should definitely see. What's that? No, Nifchan. You leave the test. Zach will give out the questions from the test tomorrow. For anyone who's here on time. If you're not on time, you're good. Okay. What's that? You could do it. Yeah, you could do it before you do it after. It doesn't. Okay. So Akopanim, Lagabi Pragmatia, Tafkuf Lamed Test. So the Gemara is before that one of the things that Chazal answered on Chol HaMoed was Pragmatia. That's Gemara Daf Yudam Beis, Pragmatia, Asura, Davar Ovid Moter. So that's Be'ikr, Pragmatia Schaira means business, doing business. Well, Lamaisa, what's Mavur in Sim Tafkuf Lamed Test is Lamaisa, this Isser and this whole Simon is talking about the din of buying and selling. A business which involves buying and selling. Buying Schaira wholesale, selling it resale, selling it retail. Making money off of buying and selling. And the male was nichal, and that isser is not just someone who's doing it for business per se, but rather pragmatic kol shu to buy anything. You're not allowed to buy things on Chol HaMoed. Purchasing items on Chol HaMoed is usher. There's an isser to buy and sell. That's the hagdara when we talk about the isser pragmatia schaira of the. And it's very nogea because after Tafkuf Lamed Gimel we're going to go back to Tafkuf Mebez because a lot of the questions that Memela come up when you bring the ayin this are the questions of it's very nogea today. There are many people who still have a business of pragmatia, buying and selling things. But what about the other chiluk of pu'ula and of avodah b'chol HaMoed of going to work? Well, even that your work doesn't involve buying and selling, you just have a job. You go to your job. You're an accountant. You're a security guard. Whatever. Call many things like that. So that's really a different shayla. It's not nichla b'chal n'isr pragmatic. You're not buying and selling anything. It presumably will have the same material of davar avid. It's a little bit telling the Gemara we saw quickly over the Vankri. That's similar to Tafkuf Mebez. It's a presumptive shayla. All the shaylas that are hoylach v'soiv of this question pragmatic is all questions of the fact that Chazal said it's usher to buy and sell things. So that means that even though it's not for business, you're not allowed to go into a store. If you need a toothpick for matzah yontif, you're not allowed to buy 1 shekel toothpick. It's usher to buy a few kol shu. And like we saw, the Isser is either because of Shema Yichtov, the Chiddush of the Mishnah, Pash, some kind of Tircha, some kind of Avshanolsa, some kind of Zilzal HaMoed. So where and when is Pragmatia Moter? So what's Mefurish is in two Eifanim. One right away the Gemara says, Davar Avid. And that's really the Iker Shaila of this Sugya is how to be Magder, what exactly is called and when it's called the Davar Avid by Pragmatia. And the other, and even more basic heter is what's Mavur in the Hemshech of the Parak, in the Mishnah is that for Tzarech HaMoed, like we know, we buy milk, we buy chicken, we're allowed to buy food. There's no Issa Pragmatia to buy something for Yontif, for Chol HaMoed Yontif needs. Now, this heter, that heter comes with its hakbalas. If everyone got to it, if you didn't, you should get to it. That's the end of Tafkuf Lamed Test. The question of opening a store, and in what way and what oifen you're allowed to have a store open, what way you're not allowed to have a store open. So that's the question of Besonder Tosefes Isser, Tosefes Chashash, of Avshamilsa, Nasei Bekach. We'll maybe get a little bit into that shayla of opening a store. But that's not the etzem hagdara of the Isser Pragmatim, which is buying and selling. Tzarech HaMoed was hooked. We'll see that's very nogea b'zmanenu, because at least much of what we buy could at least in some way be explained off as Tzarech HaMoed. Even perhaps if you go shopping, sometimes you're buying things that you wouldn't necessarily have bought. It's not really a Tzarech HaMoed, and you really take advantage of the fact that Chol HaMoed, you find yourself in a place that it's a good place to shop. So very often, even without the heterim we're going to discuss now, there's very often a basic question of is it Tzarech HaMoed? So if you buy an article of clothing that you weren't necessarily planning, maybe it wasn't a Tzarech HaMoed, but obviously if you buy an article of clothing on Chol HaMoed and you wear it on Chol HaMoed, or on Yontif for that matter, there's no tzad chumrah. Again, the question of the store being open halfway, all the way, closing the doors, not closing the doors, that's different chat. Okay. So Pragmatia is aser. The davar of it is mutter. Says Tosfos in Daf Yudam Beis that what does it mean davar of it by Pragmatia? So Tosfos says that be careful when we have to be careful when we're magdir, what does it mean, davar avid? Because when a person is selling something, if you ask the average salesman, he's going to tell you, listen, if I'm selling on Chol HaMoed, I'm going to make more money if I sell today. If I don't sell today, I'm going to make less money. That sounds like a davar avid. Says Tosfos, it's not. Says Tosfos, that's not called a davar avid because it's not hefsid from the keren. Bottom Tosfos. Davar avid mutar perish b'davar shemlein krena ata shemlein krena yafeh pan acheres yafsid min hakeren. Says Tosfos, you have to be selling at a loss, or not selling at all, or your soil will be nifsad. If you have food, if you have something that's going to spoil, or something that's going to go out of style, or something, you're not going to be able to sell it anymore. So that's certainly a davar avid because you lost what you bought. You bought something, you're trying to sell it at a profit. Instead of selling it at a profit, you're selling it at a loss. But if you're comfortably within your profit margin, you're making money, and the question is how much money you're making, says Tosfos, that's asur. Avol im lo yafsim nekeren elo shlo yarviach kol kach ein ze chashuv davar avid.
Does that really tell you how?
Kol shechein l'knai schayr shem tiyas v'yus.
Does that tell you the time of Kli? Or does that tell you how?
It depends what you want to do. On Chol HaMoed, if you want to buy, it's telling Kniyah. If you want to sell, it's telling the Mechira. In Tosfos here is talking about selling. So if you don't sell it now, you're not going to be Marviach Kol Kach. Okay, so it's important to be mizbayin a little bit in the lashon of Tosfos, which is also the lashon of the Rosh. You see, the Beis Yosef says a very big chiddush. It's mefurish here that even though it's very, very clear that you're loyim keren kol kach, you're going to lose the money. It's going to be less of a. You're going to make less profit. It says Tosfos that was nichal in what Chazal asur when they said pragmati. Obviously, if you don't do pragmati in Chol HaMoed, you might actually lose some money. Yes, but you're not going to lose from the keren, so it doesn't have hagdar of davar avid. So anything that doesn't have hagdar of davar avid goes back into the klal pragmati asur. It says Tosfos you're not going to make as much profit. Now, Tosfos fears over here. After saying that Hagdara, it's a little bit difficult to understand. Tosfos says, and if you need to buy wine for the whole year, and now's the Shas HaBatzir, and if you don't buy now, it's going to be very expensive. So that's mutter. He brings the Emes Tosfos brings 2 days about that. The Beis Yosef is Marach and Siftes about the different shitas and the Ma'aser Mekel. So without any explanation, it's a little difficult. It's very difficult what Tosfos wants. What's the heter? There's no hefsid keren. We're talking about a guy who has to purchase something, so he has a certain amount of money, and if he doesn't buy now cheap, he's going to have to buy more expensive. That sounds more like the Miyas Revach than Hefsek Keren. There's no Hefsek Keren. There's nothing that's he's losing value. So that's Tzarechiyim. And as we'll see, that Hezbollah we find ready the Rishonim and the Ramban and the place. Fine. So that's let's just try to get the source of the Shmaitzah. It's a little complicated. There's a lot of pratim. So that's the Aleph base. Pragmatia means buying and selling. Buying and selling in Chol HaMoed is asur unless it's Tzarech HaMoed or a davar avid. Says Tosfos, davar avid means you're selling at a loss. You're losing money. You're losing your schayr. You're losing from what you put in. Your investment is being lost. Fine.
You
Less than that.
The last line of Tosfos is consumption, or for
Tosfos is talking about for consumption, I presume. I mean, that's certainly how the poskim understood in Beis Yosef. Even though we'll see in Siftes there is a precise shayla over there, maybe doing it also with schayr. If it truly means you're yain kosher, you want to buy your wine to. Now, so that's the step number one. The next step is the Rosh. So the Rosh, and then Rishonim, after the Rosh Bem is quoting Tosfos and agreeing with Tosfos' problem, not problem, but Tosfos' Hagdara and Hagabala in the heter of davar avid. That is not a davar avid, even if you stand to lose a substantial, even a substantial amount of your profit, but that's still just a loss of profit. Loss of profit is not a loss of keren. Mele it's asur b'chol HaMoed. Says the Rosh. The Rosh Bem proves that also from Yerushalmi. Says the Rosh Weiter in the same shtickle on the sugya. Brings from Yerushalmi the question of what happens by a shiara. So shiara was some kind of traveling merchants that came from faraway lands or faraway something, or it was some kind of annual or biannual fair, flea market, some kind of uncommon thing, where at this event there was an opportunity to sell to people that you otherwise would not have an opportunity to sell to, and to buy from people you would not otherwise not have an opportunity to buy from. And what's the milo of such a ma'amid is that you end up selling very, very high and buying very, very low. And that's how Shulchan Aruch quotes it. If it's a davar she'eino matzei tamid, an uncommon thing, the shiara were the traveling merchants that came from time to time. That's the lashon of the Rosh also, davar she'eino matzei. Kegoyin tzfinos shiara shabo she'em avakshim latzeis and machru b'zo lachul b'yaker. So meaning it's an uncommon, it's an uncommon, unique opportunity to make a profit, a big profit, or sell very high or buy very cheap to get good schayr very cheap. So then says the Rosh, it's mutter. So davar she'inu mutter chavit, and the Lush of the Rosh, in that shlav, the Rosh says, lahadya, it's considered a davar avid. Because such an opportunity to pass up is a davar avid. So that is the Chiddush of Yerushalmi, which as we'll see the Ramban takes issue with, doesn't understand Yerushalmi like that, and that's halacha l'maisa. So there's such a heter called shiara, which seems to be some kind of unique, uncommon opportunity at buying very cheap or selling very expensive, and that you can take advantage of even for Medias Revach, and we'll see in Namshech what the shirish of that heter is, but l'maisa that's the heter that's passed in Shulchan Aruch, al pi the Yerushalmi, al pi the Rosh. Tosis is not clear. The emphasis the Beis Yosef brings from Rabbeinu Tam that is machmir, but l'maisa the halacha it's true. Fine. So that is mitzad the Yerushalmi. Now,
did you see any Hagdar other than the once a week of the Yom HaShuk that would be considered, what's considered common, what's considered uncommon? Remember there's one book that said once a week Yom HaShuk is not considered uncommon.
yeah, that's
Anything
Shulchan Aruch
less than
says
that?
that.
Once every 2 weeks is already uncommon?
Yeah, I don't know what this year is. That's a good question. It sounds like 2 weeks would also be a problem in this one. So now the Beis Yosef says like this. He has a problem. Basically, the Rosh quotes these two halachas that we just quoted. One halacha is pragmatic, also even if you're going to lose the revach, you're not going to be marviach kol kach, like what he says. And the next halacha is shiara. The Beis Yosef for some reason sees a steer in these two halachas. Equal meidak. Kiven da Rosh sovar davaras revach hedik davar avid, because that's a chiddush that comes out of shiara, that it's Menias Revach, you're not losing your keren, which is an opportunity to sell your apples at a very high price. So that Menias Revach is considered a davar avid. So Lama Kosav, that if you have a Yom HaShuk, and you're not going to lose from the keren, that's a problem. Why should it be Aser? It's Menias Revach. Didn't he just say that Menias Revach is Aser? So the Beis Yosef seems to say an answer that in a Chanami, this question is a real question, and it's shver, and the answer is Vaday and Safik, because you see when the Moichrim and the Kainim come along from the Shiara, or the once in a blue moon, however often it is, you have an opportunity to buy or sell, that's something you're Vaday going to lose out on, and if you're going to lose out on it, it's not going to come back until 6 months later, or never, the Shiara, whatever it is. Mashein Kain, by a regular Yom HaShuk, by a regular opportunity, so it's not clear you're going to lose anything. You have schayra, you have an opportunity to make a sale. So you're not going to make a sale this week, so you make a sale next week. If it's the once weekly shuk at least, so say this week you're not going to make your profit, next week you make the profit. It's only a suffix. Umashu kasav harosh l'achar HaMoed lo yuchal harviach kol kach, hainu loymar, de'efshir do le'harviach kol kach. Kivu l'lav davar avod bevadayu asu. So it sounds like he's making a very major mekimta in the Divrei Harosh. That in a Chanam, it's not totally be'etzem in a unique opportunity and a not unique opportunity, which is seemingly what the Rosh said the chiluk is. The Rosh, the clear point out the chiluk is whether it's unique, in a matzah, and yes, matzah common. And that seems to be the difference, the chiluk the Rosh said. It says the Beis Yosef for some reason didn't see that as being sufficient teretz for this question, and Meli is bothered. What's going on? It must be Zvada and Safik. So if we take the Beis Yosef literally, what will come out is that when Tosfos says, Tosfos and the Rosh say, that it has to be hefsek keren. It's a usual kimta. It means that if I have a certain amount of thing that I buy for $100 and I sell it for a $300 profit, and if I don't sell Chol HaMoed, instead of making a $300 profit, I'll only make $290 profit. It's mutter. If it's vaday, we can tell you to say it's not vaday. That's what the base is. It's not vaday because next week you'll make it up. But let's say I have some certain amount of schayra that like food that's getting a little bit stale, and I'll have to sell it as the week-old produce. And the week-old produce is going to lose. It's going to go down in its value. That's a davar avid. So l'chayr, that's a big tzarachin on the Beis Yosef. Why he felt it necessary, machmas this question, to be machalik be'avada in tzafik, and b'chlal, it's a very big doicha, the lashon harash, and the lashon harash, and Be'emes, even Beis Yosef himself in Shulchan Aruch, I think Be'emes will see in Mishnah Bruri, he avoids this point, that it's a nafkemin of tzafik and vaday. And he seems to accept the Pashup Pshat that it's just a question of whether it's a common, normal market fluctuation that you might have to lose a little bit, but losing a little bit, so maybe the pshat is in a chanami. You'll lose a little bit on your apples this week, but maybe next week you'll find a good deal and you'll make back that extra $10 when you sell your carrots or something like that. But the shiara, so the chayr the nekuda is, it's a unique opportunity. What's unique about it is that it's a huge revach or a huge hefsid that's not coming back. So the chayr, it's totally in the matzah not matzah is a revach gadol and revach katan, which as we'll see is the first talk in the bach.
But the chayra, this is all when we talk about revach. If I'll lose $1 from my keren.
Very important point. Kol zeh is we're trying to figure out the gedarim of the Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi is a chiddush that in a chanami you're not losing from the keren, but and it's just a question of losing revach. So we have to handle, at what point did Chazal, yes, if you accept Yerushalmi, at what point did Chazal say, yes, even losing Revach is called a hefsid? But that's the only question, and we're machmir, that if you lose 5, 10, the common amount of normal market fluctuation, that's not going to be a huge opportunity, that's okay. Mashi Ein Kain, 100%. This is a very important point, we're going to see this before in Siftet. Mashi Ein Kain, if you have a certain amount of keren, and you're losing $1, you can do malacha gemura for that. We did see there's hakabalas. That's what we saw the Rishonim ask a stira between the first parak and the second parak. The first parak says you're allowed to be mashkim beis hashach, not beis habal, and there it's mashma that even a little tircha we aser. And then by Misha Hafach, the Ritva asks the question: there's a huge tircha we do matter. So maybe it's a question of how much you're losing, how much you're gaining, stand to gain. But in a chanabi, once you get into the emes of davar avi, it's time you're just losing money out of your pocket. That's all b'zunder heter. That is the classic heter of davar avi. You don't need a shali for that. You stop losing money. If you're losing money, it's davar avi.
Malacha or schayra?
Malacha and schayra. Malacha gemura, like every davar avi, b'li shinoi, because we pass with Reb Yosi, and you're allowed to do malacha, and you're allowed to do a ma'aseh uman. You're not allowed to be even for a little bit. That's some tough kuflamet zayin. Tough kuflamet zayin says misha hafach zeisov, and you're aiming to lose your zeisov. How much? How much is it worth? So you're trying to point out that yachasi to the tircha malacha you're doing should be the hefsid. But if you're doing, let's say, just a malacha gemura, but not a grace tircha, like watering your watering your baseball, or a misha hafach, flipping your olives. So as long as it's a real davar avid, meaning Chazal did not require that your nechasim and what you own and your bank account should dwindle on Chol HaMoed, machmas Chol HaMoed. Imishama hitiru. There might be some hagbalas of tircha yisera, like we saw in Tafkir Vav Zayin. But be'etzim, that's not the sugya of Ravach, that's the sugya of the Yerushalmi. That's a very important point. Yes. Okay. So, but Shuv, what the Beis Yosef here is asking and answering, but I still have a very difficult time understanding exactly what his question was. The etzim chiddush of shiara is the answer to this question. Shiara is a chiddush, and even though pragmati is a aser, and even though you're not going to be marviach kolkach, you're going to lose revach. But it's not called a loss, that's called a midias revach. When you have a very unique opportunity, you pass that up, passing up a unique business deal, once in a year, twice in a year, once in a month, whatever this year is, passing up, that's Dershav Kehefsik.
Why isn't this mean more than Shema and Vadai? Why isn't this mean that is saying Shema and Vadai? Vadai, a once.
Here's my nafkamina. I'm not sure you mean that this is my nafkamina. Let's say
regular fluctuations are Shema. Matsui means.
I'm asking. Let's say I know that week-old apples by law you have to sell it for 10% cheaper, and in a week my week-old apples are going to be week-old. Find some way to make not a week-old. So that would be the nafkamina. In a chanami, that's the emes why I think the Bach, who's the one who speaks out the chiluk between the halal and the he says kach mashma Beis Yosef, kach mashma. I'm having a little bit difficulty reading this Beis Yosef, but I ultimately think that's what Beis Yosef means as well. Even though he seems to lav dafka the rush. I mean, in Shulchan Aruch, there's really no indication for the Vadai Safek. Mishnah Berurah doesn't make any mention of it. And Takeret, it's mashma. He does bring the Bach and Tziftes. So, in a chanami, maybe it doesn't really mean it's Vadai and Safek, because after all, Shiara, I think in the Piskei of Moshe Feinstein over there that by Shiara, even if it's a Safek, it's mutter, because it's a huge opportunity. So,
but meaning the rush is saying even if you're not going to lose the carry, as long as it's a good opportunity.
Yes, 100%.
Meaning, so if normally 5% is the,
let's say, normal market fluctuation.
5%. So
and you have an opportunity
10%. That's already enough.
I don't know what the shear is. That's a good question. So I think the shear is that's some 4 words from the rush. Eino matzui k'moi tamid or bazet tamid. The point is 10%. Let's say it's an opportunity to sell or buy 10% cheaper, more expensive, whatever it is. So I think then the question would be, well, if you miss that up, how often does such an opportunity come along? You're a businessman, you have things. So if it's once every couple of weeks, yeah, you usually get it. But to make 10% on this stuff, this schayr that I have, I never get some of them. These Chinese people who are visiting in here, they're willing to pay. The schayr would be totally if it's... He's not. I mean, here I think he refers... Yeah, it could be. It's certainly totally somewhat in that sugya, but I think he's talking specifically about shiur. Okay. Now... Normal. That's exactly it. Okay.
He's saying Dan's deals that every day they get these.
Okay. Yeah. So let's leave that. That's a very interesting question, which is Megeh very much nice. So let's get to that. Okay. So let's just try to get the source of the Shemaitza straight. So that's Shitas Harosh, the din of Shiara, which is Halacha L'Maisa, and the question is what exactly the chiluk. The Rosh speaks for himself, and the Beis Yosef seems to insert some other Hagdara, some other Tanai, the Tzarechim. And we'll get back to that. Now, this is Kol Zeh is Shitas Tosfos. We're not sure what Tosfos holds about Yerushalmi, at least the Rosh and the Ravid. So the Pais can bring, the Muki Yosef brings, the Beis Yosef brings, the Ramban is Chayvik. The Ramban says that when the Chazal said Pragmatia, I mean, really, what are the Rosh and the Ravid guilty of doing? Manias Revach, like make up your mind, is it hefsed or not hefsed? So it says the Ramban, that's one of the tiniest Rishonim say. If you're matering Manias Revach, so every Manias Revach should be mutter. Like, where do you draw the line exactly? And that's what we're trying to figure out. You have to grapple. What exactly is matzui, not matzui? So the Ramban didn't accept that. Pragmati means making money, Revach. So all pragmatis of the Ramban is asur. Either Yerushalmi. I think that was in the Ritva, some Rishonim just reject Yerushalmi, deference to the Bavli. But the Ramban says, I have a different pshat in Yerushalmi. And the Ramban says basically his shita in pragmatio and davra avid, and there's l'chayra kula and a chumra of the Ramban neged the Rosh and the Rabbi. Meaning the chumra of the Ramban is no revach. Even if you have an opportunity to make $1 million sale, to make a huge profit, that's also as long as it's just a question of profit. But idach kisa, what's mutter? Zos the Ramban. Zok the Ramban. There is no other heter except for, like Ma'or was pointing out, the classic davra avid. Narva says the Ramban, that's the Chiddush. The Chiddush of Shiara is not a new Chiddush of Niyas Rebach. It's a harvacha of the classical din of Davar Avid. How is it a Davar Avid? If a Shiara comes, you want to sell him some apples, where's the Davar Avid? Says the Ramban, it's talking about a guy who has to buy apples anyway. He has to purchase some kind of tzarkei beisai. He needs to buy things for his health, to live, clothing, food, whatever it is. So he's going to buy these things anyway. And the Chiyai Gavna, that he's going to pay a higher price l'achar HaMoed. And on Chol HaMoed he finds a cheaper price. Says the Ramban, that's not B'nai Yisrael. That's Hefsid Mamish. It's Davar Ovid Mamish. And the Ramban is very clear about that. He's madgish that point. That it's Nechshav Davar Ovid, it's Bitol Kisa, it's Hefsid Mamoina. And Be'emes, this is a Chiddush. This is a Chiddush which is a Kula that you don't find in the Rosh and the Ravid. And that is that this is called Hefsid Keren. The Hefsid Keren that the Rosh and the Ravid were talking about is Hefsid Keren. You have something that's going down in value. You're losing your money. You're not going to have a sale. Other than that, there's nothing. Except if you come to the new Chiddush of Shiara. Says in Ramban, there is no new Chiddush of Shiara. Shiara is just a harchav of the din of Davar Avid. What's the din of Davar Avid? Losing Karen. How's this losing Karen? So that's the question. What exactly the Ramban means? L'chayr, what the Ramban means is that because every person, has some amount of money in his pocket or in his bank account, and that money is miyuid to buy his tzrachim, and he's daitoi olav to buy those tzrachim. So it's kaviyachol kein. It's not the emes of choshen mishpat like a shibud, but there's kein like a shibud on his money already. That money's already going towards. There's a chiluk of his money which is going towards his needs. So, but regularly you're going to schlep out. You're going to cause him to schlep out more money from his pocket for those needs, for the milk and the apples that he finds on sale on Chol HaMoed. That's bittul kisei mamish like about. Then your mamish losing money. How much money do you have to lose? Not much. I'm saying that it's regular davar of it. So it could be a davar matzah. It doesn't do with matzah and ain't a matzah. It's regular davar of it. It's considered you're losing money out of your pocket.
It has a budget how much money he uses per month. He has a set aside.
Right? Exactly. As long as it goes below that, that's called a davar of it. Or even an emes says could be even if you found the mitzvah. Even if that's you'll be barviach more. But Lamaisa, since I have the opportunity to buy my tzrachim right now, it's kaviyachol, the shibur on my money right now is only klapping the $10. And if you're going to make me schlep out $20 next week, that's called a davar of it. Oh. So now, like we said, we paskin not like the Ramban. Legabe what? Legabe the chumrah of the Ramban. We don't pass the Ramban. The Ramban was machmir. I don't care about Miniyas Rebach. Even if it's shiara, we're saying now shiara is the once in a year opportunity, $100,000. Look, the Ramban aser. Klape zeh. Before in Shulchan Aruch Sefei, the Beis Yosef is malaket Rishonim. He says Rav Rishonim Remekel. So Remekel like the regular din of shiara. So if a person has a unique opportunity, the kula of the Rosh and the Ravid we do take. What about, so we don't take the chumrah of the Ramban. What about the kula of the Ramban? Which is a besundere svara that if you have daitoi olav and it's your tzrachim and you need to buy them, and it's going to cost you just even a little bit more. Because again, it's a question of davar avi. Are we marchiv the din of davar avi to be koilol also the Ramban's case? Davar zel loy mefurish mamish. Yes lahalacha, and that's what we'll see the guy in Sif test. We'll get back to that.
It ends up being that the Bavli that says Prakmatya Ha'aved means to sell, and the Yerushalmi is to buy. That's what we were Maviach Ushayar. See the Ramban? Because we have the case of Prakmatya Ha'davar Ha'aved means the loss of Keren. That's not Shayar. So that's the difference between the Bavli and the Yerushalmi, selling or buying.
The heter of the Ramban is only buying.
Meaning that's the Yerushalmi. Yeah. Meaning from the Bavli we know selling, if you'll lose the Keren.
No, we know from the Bavli.
He has to be masking to the Bavli says, selling and losing the carrot. He has the masking to
Oh, that's clear. Yeah. Losing carrot in the davar.
So that's selling, and then there's buying, which
that's
you
a chiddush of shiara, right? Exactly. The question, and are we makabel this chiddush? So that's not mamish first. I've seen sif test the halacha. We are makabel
The
that.
first term the Rosh brings with the Shin Reva that he brings, especially the base 60 says that he explains it.
That sounds like the Nabbat. Very good.
It sounds like Ramban and it's Kolshkin.
Fine. I don't think it's Kolshkin. We'll discuss it. We're going to get back there. But, okay, before we get to the Shaila of the Ramban, the Halacha, which is a very, very negay Shaila, because, people might find themselves in all kinds of places where, if you're visiting Chutz La'aretz and you have an opportunity to buy something, very often it's Mamish Shlo Tzarech HaMoed, whatever, sometimes you don't even open the package because it's easier to get it back on the plane. And it's something that you need to buy. So at least in that extreme, I know exactly what you need to buy in America, but it's arbitrary. Whatever you need to buy, if you can find it cheaper, if either man that be mutter. But let's say I can only find it $20 cheaper, and sometimes you can find it for that price in Israel, so people can bring it for you after HaMoed. So Kipshuta the feeder rush would be awesome. You wouldn't be allowed to buy it. You're buying something Shlo Tzarech HaMoed. So you can't buy the stroller for $20 cheaper if you have no need for it. You're keeping it in the package. It's totally Shlo Tzarech HaMoed. It would be awesome. If you there and ban, you'd have a kula. Because I plan on buying it, and it's bitul kisoy, that's a harchav of davar avit. So it's very chashuv to know that we do pass in the Ramban, as we'll see. But before we get back to the Ramban and the Shaila
the Ramban doesn't address Safek Vada. I mean, if the Shayara will come back next week, he'll still be matter. That's very hard, because if we're saying it's Mamish Karen... I
think so. He's not Mamish pointed in a Motzui. Again, if it's Mamish Motzui, meaning if it's the same thing tomorrow is today, then you're not losing anything, right? But I don't think, so you're right, it's a little bit of a gray area, but it sounds like he doesn't have to go as far as, no, the once in a week market not. Maybe the once in a week market talking not, because just buy it next week. But if it's, it doesn't have to be in a Motzei Klal, it's not the Dagish, because we're talking about regular Davar Aved. I guess that would be a question like by your field. If you have a Beis HaShlachin or a question of Beis HaShlachin, Beis HaBal, and it's a little bit of a hefsek, and it's a little bit of a suffix, it makes a question. Something Davar Aved.
The same question is why we have to say the keeping of fish was like people had more.
So let's get to the fish. So now, there's another problem with the din of shiara, right? The first problem we discussed, the din of shiara, was the question: how do you deal with the chiddush of shiara? It's against the issa pragmatia. So the answer is, as the Rosh says, it's a unique, rare opportunity. So that's the heter that we pass in Shulchan Aruch. The Ramban doesn't hold the whole thing. It's a different heter. It's a regular davar aved because you're buying something you need anyway. So the Rishonim point out, the Rosh at the end of the first parak points out, there's a different problem with the heter of shiara. And that is shiara, if you understand like the Rosh, which says that even though what we're saying is a common opportunity, common market fluctuation, a little bit is not a big deal, you make it comes and goes easily in regular business dealings, is awesome. But if it's a unique, mamish opportunity, so then it's mutter. Frek the Rosh, my shnaf from the Gemara Dafir Aleph, L'gabe Dagim. The Gemara Dafir Aleph tells us a story that the river dried up and there were tons of free fish going around. Everyone would come, fill up basketfuls of fish. The Gemara's Mavur is that Be'etzim, it's usher to take this fish. To be matriach, there was no tzeidim mal, Canada, according to I think all their fish were dead, they were stuck there, but it was a question of the tircha of schlepping them together and filling up the baskets, and malicha, which is also the mice like the Chazanish points out, it's not malacha gemura. That's why it's a little bit tzarachin, the Bialacha seems to have understood some call about malacha, like Shabbos they come malacha, it's not Shabbos, it's Amol v'Torah, there's a huge tircha and Asik and Amol to go do it, and it's before the Gemara it's asir. The emes like we saw, the Gemara says it's mutter, but the Gemara only says it's mutter for a specific reason, because it's called tzarech HaMoed, because it's all edible. Now that is a problematic halacha, which we have to see Tafkush Lamed Gimel Sif Daled for. What do you mean it's edible? They were filling up huge baskets and selling them. So the Gemara says even with the salt, it was edible. Squeeze out the salt, you can still eat it. Say there, so it's edible. But the Maisi you're doing a Shol Tzarech HaMoed, so that we have to see Tafkush Lamed Gimel. The question of Harama, the Magid Rameh Sis Pshat, the Karban Salah Sis Pshat. We'll see over there. But what's clear over here is that even though this was an Ein L'cha opportunity, right? You had an opportunity to get free fish and salt it, I guess, for the whole year, for the whole month, for the whole something, and it's usher. So that's shared with this whole concept of shiara. As I frek, the Rosh brings from the Ravid that this is the question on the Havana of the halacha of shiara, that a unique opportunity is damnus that's very, very nadir is taka heter for pragmat. So Zak the Rosh, two teruts. And this is, so we'll see, this is very important. This is also a big shayla poskim, which are the two terusim of halacha, is there an afkamina. So the first teretz is that, what was the fish? The fish was, I wasn't planning on buying fish, l'chayr, I don't have any interest, maybe I do have an interest in fish, but l'chayr, it's a metzia. That's the dagish the Rosh. Rosh is a metzia. So passing up on the opportunity, even a great, huge opportunity, but it's just a mitzvah. It's like kulei revach. It's like, and it's more than kulei revach. It's just like winning the lottery. So to be matriach and go do malacha or even anything for just kulei revach that wasn't daitei lave and it's just stop. It was a stroke of luck that you could have these fish. That's usher. Mashenkin pragmatio. Pragmati is a person's asik. It's a person that earns a living, and that's how he maintains his bank again. It's michyasai. It's a person's always worrying about where his next dollar is going to come from, and where he's going to, how he's going to make a living. So Memela, so Zok Rosh, when do we say that, even though we're not talking about real hefzer, we're talking about Menias Revach, right? Let's keep that in mind. The Chiddush of Shiara is, it's just Menias Revach. But since that Menias Revach is of Pragmatia, which is the person's dealings, is a sokim to make money, that's where where Chazal were makel to be machshiv the Menias Revach as a hefzer. She'ein kain stam mitzia ba'alma, so you don't get you have the mitzia, you won't have the mitzia. That's not considered a davar avid. That's the first teretz. The first teretz, what's chayr klar, is that the heter that's being said for pragmatia is a heter gomer, meaning we were makel to call it a davar avid. L'chayr davar avid to even matter malacha. Meaning again, the chiddush of shiara was what? That it has a din like a davar avid, even though it's not a davar avid. It's a new chiddush of davar avid. The Menias Revach is called davar avid, but the heter of davar avid is a heter across the board. You can do malacha, you can do alt. Inami is Dr. Rosh. Second teretz is no. The emes is no difference between the fish and the shiara. They're both unique opportunities to have to make some good money. The nafkamina is what you're doing for that revach, says the Rosh. By shiara, you're doing a business deal. So you have to sign a paper, you have to some documents, handshakes, pass over some money. No grace of tirchas, no grace of malachas, no grace of tirchas. So in a chanami, it's just the revach ba'alma. But what are you doing for that revach? You're not doing too much. So for that, we were makel. Mashe'en came for the revach of the fish. In a chanami, it's mitzvah, but that's the same revach as Lofi the second. That's the same revach as pragmatia. But what we have to do, you have to schlep down to the river and fill up your baskets and salt them and schlep them home. And that's the nakuda that now. So Lofi the second teretz of the Rosh is a big chumrah comes out that the whole heter of pragmatia is only masamata. The whole heter for this Menias Revach. The Ramban holds there's no heter for Revach. The Rosh holds there's a heter. And if you have an opportunity to make $1 million, you have the heter of shiara. What does that heter matir? So according to the first teretz in the Rosh, it matters to malacha gemura. It has a din like a davar avi, as opposed to mitzia fish, which is stam mitzia ba'alma. Mashiach. According to the second teretz, the whole chiluk is that in a chanami, what's the grace heter already? We're not mattering. What do we matter already for a grace revach? We matter that you can go make a business deal, but not more than that. Not to go down to the river and prakma and pick up the fish and gather them together. So the Chaznish points out, and the Simkuf Lamaneh doesn't mean malacha l'chayr. There's no malacha involved here l'chayr. Maybe there was some kind of shusarab in Pompatisa. Bavel, like Mar says, shusarab. So it was a din in Amal and Tayrach, and for that lo hitir. So these are the two terutzim of the Rosh to explain a stira from the din of the Yerushalmi to the din of the Bavli, to the din of catching fish, not catching fish, but gathering fish and being tareach and amal for the fish.
The chiluk we brought a few weeks ago, the Raiva, that we do this balance of tircha and malacha, that's all klapi keren. Because we can't say that here. Because if you say it here, then if it's really, really a lot of money for the fish, then we matter. I mean,
it's okay. No, it's okay to have the scale to have agabala. There's agabala, meaning economic to scale. But tonight, that according to the first teretz, or let's say the second teretz, which is mamish this part, that it's just a tircha malma. But tonight, that according to the second teretz, tonight you're only doing masamati, not doing big tirchas.
But if you wouldn't be making so much money,
you're saying if we're being trillion,
if it's $1 trillion of the fish, then again,
unless at some point you say loy plug, meaning it sounds like there is some kind of get there. That Masu Matan was a special heter that the Rosh is being magdil. It's a din of pragmatio, business dealings. Once you have to put on your, get your tools, get your baskets, and start schlepping and ameling and taraching, would there be any revach that would matter even that?
I mean, we started by Karen, right? That's how we started. By Karen, that's when we had this Ravid.
This is the Ravid. This is the Ravid. It's the same Ravid. This is the Ravid.
This is where we had this.
This is one of the places. This is a big makar. That's what the Ravid's saying here about it. He's saying that because it's yachasi. Because you're making a little bit of money. Because you're making money. It's Menias Revach. It's not really a hefsid, but it's epis hefsid. And I'm only doing a masamata. That's okay. But to take my basket down to the river
and the lishna kavla. So it's also the right.
Yeah. Well, there's two. Right. That's a different story. That's a different chisar of mitzia. that even though you can say this yachas, but that's only for something that is considered a hefsid. Meaning, the first answer is just, it's a bezunder tonight. The hashkaf of the Rav is still true, but it's a bezunder tonight. You can't just stop it. For winning the lottery, if stop just new revachim that have no shaykhs, that you can't. It's a different question.
If there's no tirka mitzvah,
yes, it's also kula second teretz, yes, and chanami, because the second teretz thing is no nafkamina between the fish and the pragmatia. There's no. It's just a question of malach or tircha, right? Okay. And the chanami, that's also a question point. According to the second teretz, there might be a kula that even for mitzia, but what's the? It doesn't. It's not really chal because for mitzia you don't usually do masamata. Only matter is pragmatia. So for mitzia you have to go b'yatriach to get them in. And that's the lashon in Shulchan Aruch when you answer mitzia. Shulchan Aruch says. Also, the troyach le'esoif to schlep after and do all the malachs. Okay. So that is another question in terms of, and this is also halacha l'maisa. Since we do pass in the rush, the question is, what is the heter of shiara? Is the heter of shiara a heter from malacha across the board, and it's a din of a davar aved, even to matter malacha, or no? It's just a heter for pragmatia of alma of doing a deal masamat. Okay. So where does this leave us last? Sif tes. There's a halacha, Mechaber brings a halacha in Sifkas, which is that's from places that we mentioned already. The question of someone who, okay, so what we know so far, just before we get back to Sifkas, we know so far that we pass in the rush, and that is that Hefsid Keren is Motor Kuli Alma. The rush is Meister from the Yushalmi Shiara. That if you have a unique opportunity, it's a big, huge opportunity. So that's mutter even from Niyas Ravach, but not less than that. We have a chiddush of the Ramban, who's marchiv the heter of Davar Av. Now, like we said, the Chayr wasn't clear if we accept that chiddush of the Ramban. So Sif test is like this: is the question of Tosfos buying wine. And like the Biur Halacha points out in Sif test, that the Mechaber and the Ramah made things very confusing. Misha Tzarich Liknus Yain Beis Abat Tzarich Shtias Yain Kol Hashana. HaMoed falls out at the harvest season, and you can get very cheap, good wine. So he wants to buy wine, he's drinking wine for the whole year. So up there it's mutter, it's a davar avid, you can buy the wine, you can make the barrels. Very clearly saying a davar avid. Even though the guy's not losing anything, it's just a question of getting cheaper wine. But only for what you need. But if you're buying more than what you're going to drink, then you're buying just schleiter. You're buying merchandise to buy and sell. That's us. Okay. Hagah, but even to buy more than what you need to drink, then it's mutter. So the Biur Halacha points out, all the Achronim were bothered, what are we talking about? In the Mechaber lane, in the ratio, so state that you're allowed to buy your own wine for the year. But not more than that, not for Harvach. Meaning B'niyas Ravach is Asir. So if B'niyas Ravach is Asir, so maybe we'll say that's like, we pass in Shor and Sifei, right? So what B'niyas Ravach is Asir? So Elamai, it's only the common B'niyas Ravach. Okay, so if you learn like that, the common B'niyas Ravach is Asir. Like it says in Sif Dalet and Hey, B'niyas Ravach is Asir unless it's Shor. And then the Ramah adds, but by the way, if it would be a Davar She'ein Motzei Klal, I mean it would be like a din of Shiara, then it would be mutter. But Im came, what's the heter for him to buy? What's the heter for the mention? Meaning, if the Mechaber is talking about a case that it's a regular, not Shiara case, so what's the heter for the mention to buy? It's not a Shiara case. It's just B'niyas Ravach. Whatever we say is usher to buy for schler is also usher to buy for yourself. What are you buying extra 10 barrels for next week and next year and for the next 10 months? That's B'niyas Ravach. It's usher, so you'll pay more money next week. So Elamai, you'll say that the Mechaber is talking about where it was a Shiara Diki case, it was an uncommon thing. Then what's the Ramah talking about? Because then the Mechaber is saying, okay, you can buy for yourself, but you can't buy for Schleir. Why can't you buy for Schleir? It says that Ramah, you could buy for Schleir. Why would the Mechaber ask for Schleir if it's Shiara? That's Sifei. This is what the Achronim were all bothered by. So the Biur Halacha brings 3 different ways to get out of this problem, this local problem, how to read Pashto Mechaber Mereisha Ad Seifa. And Lamizbayin and Mechaira, they're all saying different Hagdaras in what the din of Shiara is. So like the Mishnah Brura brings the Chayyadim. And he says the Chayyadim says like this, that the heter that the Ramah says that if it's Ein Matzah means Ein Matzah Klal, you're never going to see this wine again, you're going to have no opportunity to get wine B'chlal. No wine. If you have no wine, that's a Davar Aved. But if it's just a question of being more expensive or cheaper, that's Asr. That's the Chayodim's Mahalach in Siftes. That if it's just more expensive or cheaper, that's also. So that's a steer to Sifei. I mean, we never found it. In Sifei, are we being Metzamsim the whole din of Shiara? That it's only if you'll never find the same klal. The din of Sifei is, like it says in Sifei, Zol v'yoiker, yoiker v'zol. You're going to make a lot more money or a lot less money. Says the Chayodim, no, it has to be totally unavailable the rest of the year in order to have the din of Shiara. So how could... That doesn't stem with Sifei l'chayr. That's not the Hagdara of Shiara. I mean, we're trying to understand is this Ramah. He's saying the din of Shiara. And the Chayodim saying it means it's not available l'chayr. So, the Mishmur mentions the Chayodim. I think in the Bialoch it's clear he's bothered by the Chayodim. He tries to say a different pshat from the Aliyah Rabbah, the opposite extreme. That really the Ramah is talking about the regular din of Shiara. As long as it's not matzah, it's mutter, you can buy and sell. So what's the Machaber talking about? It's like the Machaber is talking about a guy who's tam. He's just buying extra for no reason, not to buy and sell, not to be Rabbi. So, and that's why the Machaber says it's asr. It's Arachi, and why the Machaber, we talk about a guy who's tam buying extra. He says, you're tarach b'kedi, he's tam buying extra for no reason. L'maisa, yeah, and that's really where the Ramah comes from. The Ramah is being inserted. The question is, the Ramah was inserted after the Ramah said it's asr. So that's what causes all this confusion.
Unless the Rosh is talking about something which is product, which is
not available at all.
Yeah, it's
weird. In Sifhei or in Siftes? In Siftes. Yeah, it's the first Shulchan Aruch. It says Zol v'yoker. He's buying expensive, buying cheap, and selling expensive. There's a guy, I don't know why the Shulchan usually brings the guy. So the guy in Mamish says the what's the Pashup Shad in this whole Sif. And like probably everyone thought when they saw immediately Siftes, it's Mamish the Ramban. That the Ramban has a bezundere heter for someone, even though it's not a shiara case. It's not the shiara case of the Rosh and the Ravid. But a person has to buy his own tzrachim, and for his tzrachim, he's going to pay more money. That's a davar avid. So, and then Chol Yavoy al Makom b'Shalom. That's exactly what the Gaon says. The Gaon says the Machaber is saying it's aser ki mavur b'siv dalit when it's not the din of shiara. Very simple. It's a common thing. Whatever. You're not going to find wine this week. You'll find the wine next week. You'll find it cheaper next week. So maybe you can't buy it for schayr. So what's the heter for the Ben Shalein to buy it? Because they're Ramban. Because you're not buying it for schayr, you're buying it yourself. That's exactly the chiluk the Machaber says. It says to buy for business is aser, zok the Gaon, that's Sivdalit. To buy for yourself is mutter, that's the Ramban, zok the Gaon, that's the Ramban. And the Ramah adds, but if it's going to be a totally crazy market, you're not going to have a chance to buy this wine for another 6 months, you have crazy markup or marked down, if it's going to be a huge revach or hefsid, the chiyai gavno, it's mutter, al shiar. And that's l'chayra, the mahalach of the Bach, which the Bialacha brings. And the Bach says that that's the nafkamina. That the Machaber is talking about something that's aser, only to buy for your own tzrachim, but not to buy for schayra. It's because it's talking about a little bit of fluctuation. You'll vada lose, but only a little bit. And the Ramah is adding, it's going to be a huge hefsid or a huge revach. That's the din of shara. That's where the din of shara is chal. And that's when it's mutter to buy this wine. And that's
we already matter shayar?
What?
This is where shayar is.
Where?
Didn't we already matter shayar?
Yeah, but the Zach is so you ask
the Ramah is masking to the Machaber. Gavaldik. We know the Ramban.
It's very clear in a Chanami, so it's somewhat repetitive, I guess. That's what you're asking, which is okay. I don't think that's so shred. The Ramah points it out, but in contrast, he has to point it out because the Machaber comes and says, "Wait a second, this is Asr," and like the Beis Yosef asks, "Why is it Asr? It's Shiara." So the Ramah is being madgish. It's not Shiara. The Machaber is talking about something which is a common issue. So why is it mutter for the Ben Shalim? That's the Ramban. So Zochinu Ladin that we pass in the Ramban. So,
why the Bach?
I'm just saying, because what is Taka the Nafkamina that the Gaon says the Machaber is Sif Dalet and the Ramah is Sif Hey. So, the Choyre the Nafkamina is, because again, so the teretz is Sif Dalet is common, you can commonly find it. So why is it mutter for the Men Shalein? So what I'm saying is that the Ramban, that for the Men Shalein, it's a regular din of Davar Avid because he's losing from his pocket. So it's a small claim to hefsid. It's still mutter for him, but also for schayr. And the Ramah's talking about it's a great hefsid, and that's when it's mutter even to do business. Ba'ifin, that hagam that we pass in Makula, the Rosh and the Ravid and Yerushalmi, they have a unique opportunity to make a big revach. That's mutter even from Yisrael of that hefsid. We also pass in the Ramban that for a person who's buying something that he personally needs and is going to have to have anyway, it's mutter to be. To buy HaMoed, even for a hefsed katan, even something it's not. It's on a darga that it's matzah enough that it's also to do for schayra. which is exactly what the Ramban would say also. He doesn't hold the heter of schayra, but even with the idan that we hold the heter of schayra for shiara, this is not shiara. It's a bezunder heter. This is called losing money. Like the Goin says so clearly in one word, kisiv dalet. The Machaber is talking about a siv dalet dikki case. That's a normal, common, small plain hefsid, but that's enough for the Ramban. If we use the hefsid, the din of the Ramban. Now, what Rameir was pointing out before is that l'chayra is mavur from this Ramban, that from this Machaber and this Ramban, that this teretz of the Ramban is not a steer to the first answer of the Rosh. The first answer of the Rosh, which I don't want to be marked now, it's very getting late, but in Tavkuf Lam Gimel, it's clear in all the Poskim, that's the Bialach Zal Arichs about that, the Goin over there, and the Kiveg over there. Of the two terutzim, it's clear we paskin at least the kula of the first teretz of the Rosh. Meaning we paskin like the first teretz of the Rosh, which says that it's mamash davar avi. If you have menias ravach, you can even do malacha. It's come out first Shulchan Aruch. You can do malacha gemura for a davar avi. And what's the yisoid? The yisoid of the Rosh and the Ravid is that since it's pragmatia, losing out on pragmatia, that's mamash davar avi. Mitzia is not such a big deal. That you could be mavatar on. But pragmatia is aser. So l'chayr we could argue that's pragmatia. Maybe it's only your business dealings. We're not buying your personal wine for the year. Maybe that's not a hefsid. But l'chayr the teretz is like Meir was trying to say before, is that what's mavur here is that the idea of the first answer of the Rosh is something that your mind is on it, and your money is on it, and your das is on it, and you're going to be dealing with it, whether it be a business deal or whether it be buying your needs for the whole year. Both of these are nichlal b'divrei harosh. That has a heter, that it's not a steer to the heter of the Rosh, to the divrei harosh, that mitzia is aser and only pragmat is mutter. So, ba'ofen, that if you have something that's a lucrative business deal, and it's a huge amount, like the Bach says, and the Bialach brings, that's mutter even for Medias Revach Ba'alam. And if it's for your personal needs, we can accept the Chiddush, the Svar of the Ramban, that's also nichlal in the heter of, not of Shiara B'emes, of Davra Aved, because it's considered like you're losing your money, because it's also something that you're planning on buying, you need to buy, you want to buy, as opposed to what the Ramban himself brings a raya from the fish. Why is fish not mutter to gather together your buckets and buckets of fish to feed the Ramban? The Ramban matters even malacha gemura for his din as a regular davar avi. The teretz is it wasn't something you needed, it wasn't something you were planning on buying, it wasn't something that you had to have. And the mail of that, the Ramban is also masking that. Mitzia ba'almo, there's no such heter to buy.
And the Ramban is a keren. The Ramban makes it that you lost keren. That's the first Ramban, the first Rosh. The Rosh Chavches, the first answer is Revach. That's how we're. The Ramban makes it that you're losing your keren.
Right, and what I'm saying is,
so you don't need a lot of hefsed.
Right. So this regular davar.
This halacha is passing in the Rosh, the Batzer, in Parak Beis. So
right. The Rosh is making. The Rosh brings 2 days, and he's making right. Chanami. Yeah.
So you're saying the Ramban is a good hezbollah for this din of the Rosh.
Right. And it's not a steer to what the Rosh himself said that no, only business deals as opposed to this, because if I care, it's a different heter betzim. It's a heter davar avin and a chanami, and that's betzim that has written Tosis. Tosis was sus. That's what we started with. And now if Tosis says this heter buying one, where does it come from? So up to going, it's lahalacha, like the Rosh says. The Rosh is coming from Tosis also on Dafyud, and it's al pi the Ramban, which is lahalacha.
The Ramban when you say that by the fish, since I'm going to save money, it's not going to come out now.
Yeah. I wrote here a little bit of the shaila of a Tager. Is a very interesting question about Pshan and Ramah by Tager. Let's skip that now. Let's go to some of the shailas that are a little bit more lamaisa, and that's the question of where do you draw the line in this Ramban? So the Ramban is a huge heter.
Because if you're right, why? Because here we're allowing all malacha and all tir.
That's my point. This is mukhaf. It can't be against the Ravid. We have to find a way that even though we pass the Ravid, we pass the Ramban. What's fair?
For the Ravid, we always balance tircha versus revach, and here we're saying I don't have to declare that because it's hefsed keren. So even $3 with malacha, the first deal, the lishnakama, even full malacha, right? Only in the second lashon.
The chiddush of the Ravid in this whole sugya is even though it's not real hefsed keren. But since we'll put it yachasi, even though it's not
even based on shalchin, which is keren, we have the Ravid. And now we're saying the Ramban hefsed keren.
We have the Ravid. That Ravid was a different cheshbon asking a steer between hafach zeisim and beis shlachim. But the ma'aseh, once you're losing money, yachasi to this heter, losing money is a heter government. And then it's not fair that even if it's a davar hamotzo, even if it's a small amount, because you have to understand, that's a huge jump that the Ravid took, that's what the Ramban took issue with. The Ravid took a huge jump in the sugi. He said, you're not losing, and it's davar avid. Not losing, it's not davar avid, it's Bnei Rabbi. So the Ravid took that jump, and the Ramban said no. But if we back up into the sugi where your mom is losing money, even if it's a little bit, it's a whole different
we said that the Ravid would say even I can't. Based on Shalchin in the first Mishnah in that base, if it's
Okay, I'm not saying there's no Hagdara. Maybe you can't do a Turkey Yisera.
He's just saying don't do it from one Aruba to the other. Maybe
there's another way to do it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit nice in 2 minutes, just on cases. What are the common issues? So the emphasis is, if you're buying, so like we said, that's Daf Yud Beis, there's questions of opening the stores, but if you're buying the Tzarech HaMoed, so you have no problem. Tzarech HaMoed, if you're buying, whether it be food, clothing, tzarachim, whatever you need for Tzarech HaMoed, where the Shaila start. But it's not Tzarech HaMoed, person's in Chutzlar or somewhere that he wants to take an opportunity to buy things that, Shlo Tzarech HaMoed. So you shouldn't do that, because you're not allowed to buy things Shlo Tzarech HaMoed. But why do they want to do it? Because either you're in a place, what are the dugmais? You can find it cheaper in America, you can find a better quality product. So Rav Moshe has in the tshuvas, one of the tshuvas, or someone will pay for it, and someone else will pay for it. So Rav Moshe has in the tshuvas that on the cheshbon of not, just because you have your ticket to go back right after Yom Tiv, that's not a heter to go on Chol HaMoed. And only if you're a big masman, you never mazel Torah, it's not a good enough reason to go back in time for Zman. So it's a chiddush. I'm not sure exactly where that's coming from, but the point is, let's just talk. Go for Indian. You're Maisa here, Chol HaMoed. Now you have no other opportunities. I don't know about the question of pushing. You can't push off your ticket. You're not going to push off your ticket. Maisa here, Chol HaMoed. So as what are you shopping for? So if you're shopping for something that you bet some need, you need a stroller, you need clothing, you need things that are clearly your tzrachim. So would you have the Ravid and the Rush? Well, not. Because whatever, assuming you find a little, unless it's like some major clothes out there, but it's just a little bit of a sale, a little bit, maybe a little bit better quality, presumably. You can get it at some in Eretz Yisrael, you can get it at a different time. Not such a major rebach. Imishum the Rush and the Ravid would be in trouble.
It depends, if it's double the price.
Okay, but in the normal case, I would assume you're not saving so much, maybe sometimes you are. But upon him, Lafid Rabban, it's clear. Lafid Rabban, you're buying your tzrachim that you found now, you need for later. The question becomes more, when you're going shopping stop, that's a favorite pastime of many people. They just like shopping for no reason. They don't need anything. They just go to places, malls, different stores, and just buy things. It's a lot of fun. So, assuming it's something your mothers don't need, or not that your parents or whatever taking you shopping for things you need, taking you shopping for things you don't need. They're going to have overweight luggage for it. So, is there any such heter for such a thing? So Azoi, even on Chol HaMoed, even on Shabbos, it's Kiveger, but even on Yontif, even on Yontif, and giving presents. So if someone's purchasing a present for you, giving you the present, so let's say it's something, usually it's something you could get some use for it, but let's say you're not getting use for it, you're packing it up, not coming out of the box, and it's not something you need b'chlal. It's the third stroller, I don't know, or it's just clothing or different items that you just have really no need for. It's just a nice thing to have. So it's simple Yontif, and that's when someone's buying you the present. But let's say someone just enjoys shopping, and it's mamish a big simple for them to go shopping. So with that, people wonder, as a tzarech HaMoed, it's like the question of fishing. So I think this is a little bit worse. Some people fish for fun, and Rabbi said you can go fishing for fun, even though fishing shlo tzarech HaMoed is also. But here it's the tzarech etzem teal. So is there a teal in shopping? Yesh lain. Ramaisa, this is mitzir. We do have two Ramahs in Sif Aleph and Sif Yud Beis, and we're saying that in Sif Yud Beis, the Goyin makes a little bit of an isig out of it. Lamaisa, he puts the Ramah and the two Sifim together. But Lamaisa, the Ramah and Sif Yud Beis Paskins brings that minig Yisrael is to be something called the Maggid Mishnah. The Maggid Mishnah shita is that the Isser to buy things Shlo Tzarech HaMoed was only on very specific things. That's the Mishnah Daf Yud Beis, the whole sugya, the end of Taf K'van Mitzvah. Only things that are optional, so but it's time to go shopping for small things. Mutter. The Ramah who says that it has to be B'tzina, it's not the same sin as Sif Aleph. The Goyin is a tzarechiyim, what the Goyin says in Sif Aleph. It's not the sin of the Maggid Mishnah is because a Yid can't open his store. A Yid's not allowed to open his store because there's a din that a Yid can't sell before Hesed because Avshin also, but if a Goy has a store open, for me, Lafi the Maggid Mishnah of Sif Yud Beis to stop purchase other random things, which are not totally not Tzarech HaMoed, the minig was to be meko about that. It's interesting to know, and I think that minig, applies even to a Yid shopping in a Goyish store. What's that? Yeah. So the Achronim are very upset about it. And I'm not justifying. I'm not saying halacha. All the Achronim are saying they say not to be mekel unless you're going to be mitzvah yitzos. But I'm saying is here, there are the tzirufim usually because you are getting a better product and you are getting a cheaper product and it's something that you kind of convince yourself that you might need sometime. And so that betzir of the fact that we're talking about, and then the next shlav of this question, which we'll leave to work it out, but then is the question of buying things online. If you have the additional kula of A, being purchased b'tzina, and B, that is that considered the purchase b'shas ma'asim? You just give a credit card number, and maybe not making kinyan, it's not being delivered to later.
That's like the halva for the